Well, what an absolutely fabulous day. Hi there. With the weather we've been having recently, to get a day like this is just so exciting. It's, it's a bit of a breeze in the air, no surprise there, but it's quite warm, and more than that, it's sunny. It's been so wet. I'm coming to do a bit of pasture. I've done a few times before, not an awful lot, so I'm going to do it quite carefully with my new found knowledge of this machine. Go back a couple of videos. I've done 2 or 3 digging incredible deep targets in pasture with the Deus II. Quite a few people have said to me recently, gosh, it really makes me feel like getting a Deus II. I would say to those people, get a Deus II if you predominantly do pasture. If you predominantly do arable and just a little bit of pasture here and there, I really wouldn't bother. I think the Deus I is a fabulous machine for that. It just works so well under those conditions, and it's brilliant on pasture too. But I think this will get you a bit more depth once you get to understand it. I've dug a few rifle rounds, a few cartridges. That's to be expected exactly where I am. But just here, I'm absolutely thrilled. It didn't take me very long. And it goes to show there are things still here that I've missed before, which is brilliant, because it's a little Roman coin. And I don't know exactly which one it is yet, because I picked it up but I haven't taken the mud off it, which we'll start doing now. And look at that. I mean, they do come out beautifully, these coins. It's not the first one like this I've found. It's almost certainly Constantine the Great. There he is. So I suspect on the other side we've got Genio or Populi Romana or something like that, the Roman people. There we go, look. Populi, that's the statue of... that's the famous statue in Rome at the time, no longer exists. And it's the genius of the Roman people. I mean, look at that. That's just, what a way to start. I haven't been here very long. That's just, just one thing like that. That's all you need to make your day. It's fabulous. It's a follis of Constantine the Great. So that's just brilliant. I mean, what a start. I'll get the speaker running in a minute, and so you can hear what's going on and all the rest of it. I hope I don't cough and splutter too much. I'm on the end of something quite nasty. There's loads of rubbishy, horrible things going around at the moment, as you all probably know and have probably had already, but hopefully I'm getting to the end of it. But this is the first time I've been out in a while, so I just can't wait. Well, this is a bloody surprise, I tell you. I'm just going to get my speaker system sorted out, then we're good to go. So good, this machine. I know I've got to dig everything from now on, almost everywhere, which is against my rules, which is against my religion, really. And I certainly don't dig everything when I'm first on a field, but once I've done it a few times, I do. And another day I would have left this, because I've dug up 2 or 3 rifle rounds in this very area and cartridges just here, and I was going to leave this because it sounded identical, but I thought better get it out of the way, better get it up and out. Now listen to this. Gosh, it's so good to have a really good working speaker. Let me just do this. I'm going to have to take some of these clothes off soon. I'm heating up a bit. Now, I mean, we have to dig them because it could be something nice. In this case, it is something nice, but it's not as nice as it sounds. But what I'm surprised of is it's absolutely tiny. It's a tiny little copper radiate coin, a sort of 3rd century Roman coin. So I'm completely thrilled. It's another Roman already. That's really wonderful, but the sound it makes is what really threw me. Something so little. Just absolutely beautiful, but it did sounded like a rifle round. Not the whole thing, just most of it. Had a bit of depth, but that's just wonderful. I don't know who it is, probably Tetricus or maybe Gordian. One of those two. It might clean up quite well though. I'm thrilled with that. What a lovely little coin. I'm bloody glad I dug it. I'll show you what I mean so I don't have to later on. It's just too loud and squawky. Depth doesn't matter in these fields because there are so many moles. You'll find Roman coins on the surface. It's extraordinary. So I'm not digging it, but I'm not wanting to dig it because it's shallow, which it is quite. It's because it's almost certainly a big rifle round or a big cartridge. I know you love it when I get it wrong, so let's I'm pinpointing well today. I always tell you, just on the top there, just I'll bet anything you like, rifle round. Yep, there we go. And as I say sometimes, not the whole one, but enough of one that you've got to dig them, haven't you? You really have. I hate digging them, but part of me, when I hear too many of these, does stop. And in the same area, I've got a bit of ground to cover. I don't mind if I miss the odd thing. I'll come back and have it another time, God willing. I'm not going to dig up these all day. I will stop digging that sound. Anything lower than that, anything sharper and a little bit less ballsy, I'll give a go to, but I'm not digging these all day. I've dug about 15 already. Well, I wish I'd dug that live. I am so sorry. It was a buzzer. Just a buzz, buzz, buzz. It sounded like a little bit of lead, quite deep. Look, I don't know, 8-9 inches. It's a little cut half, just here. And isn't that absolutely beautiful? Gosh, they don't come out like that very often. It's not clipped at all. My gosh, look at that. That's just... Well, look, we'll have a closer look when we go to headquarters, which I'm sure we will today. Henricus, no surprise there. They all were Henry II, John Richard, and Henry III. I think it's a bit damaged just there. It's a bit of a crack in it, but apart from that, wow. Beauty. Here's another little buzzer. It's a little bit too wide, if that makes any sense. And if I was in a very foily field, I probably wouldn't dig this. And it could also be just a very small part of a cartridge. Just a little bit of the crappy copper with a little, possibly a bit of the ferrous part of it as well. That makes that sound a bit too. But let's... it's very flat sounding, isn't it? Suspect it's in there. Yeah, sorry guys. Gosh, I've done a lot of digging today and it's been mainly rifle rounds and cartridges. That's exactly what it is. Look, not the whole cartridge, just the flat copper bit at the top and the primer and a bit of ferrous all there. So it's just, that's why it didn't give a proper punchy cartridge sound. Just gave that. But it is copper. But it's copper, it's not iron. It could have been something, could easily. A little buckle or something like that. Well, this is slightly more promising sounding. Gosh, it's got cold again. I'm gonna have to get my coat back on. That's not a rifle round. Could be a cartridge, or it could be a little coin. I know I always say cartridge, and I know you find it funny when it's not, but it's because 99% of the time, if I say it's probably a cartridge, it's because it is. They usually are. Well, that's odd, because I thought it was going to be deeper than that. But that's making me sound like it's almost on the surface, right through. Yeah, this isn't very promising, I'm afraid. Right, no more live digs if this isn't any good for the time being. I need to get on with it. It's in here. It's a tiny Roman coin. Absolutely minute Roman coin. We're not going to find smaller than that today. I love it when we find these. My God, I mean, it must have been bought up by the moles. It's well, I can see it's an emperor. The soldiers in the standard on that side, and I can clearly see a face on that side. Isn't that wonderful? Well, worth digging. I mean, that's not going to win any awards, but we're not going to find smaller than that today. Gosh. Well, it's quite hard work, but good fun at the moment. Well, I don't know if it's cold or me just feeling a bit cold, but I think I am going to have to put my coat back on in a minute. Now look, listen to this. Now this is not, I'm just going to see. This is perfect. Deep and small and a little bit buzzy. Now I'm just going to see if there's any, so many rifle rounds and cartridges. This is just, I don't think this is one. And I've got something absolutely fabulous to show you as well. So let's just dig this and see first. It's just turning out to be one of those days. It's hard work, there's a lot of digging, but we're finding some fabulous things around it. I reckon that's got to be a Roman coin. I can't think what else that's going to be now. Just there. It's not a rifle round, it's not a cartridge. Bit of lead perhaps. Hadn't banked on that, mind you. Now these will fool you all day. You can't not dig them. They sound like little hammered coins sometimes. They're little copper 2-2 round. Absolutely infuriating. I haven't found many here. There's not that many here. That's why that didn't occur to me. It might be one of those, but that's what it is. But look what I have just found. To be fair on me as well, it did sound a little bit like, it sounded a little bit like the cartridges and rifle rounds. It wasn't that deep. Look, it's a socking great hammered coin. Now, from this side, I saw 1606 and I immediately saw the shield and thought Elizabeth. I think it's too late to be Elizabeth. I can't quite remember. It's naughty of me not to know off the top of my head. 1590, something like that, did she reign until? Anyway, I think this is James I. And actually, it's got a sixth there. So I think that must be Sixpence, not the fact that he was James VI of Scotland. That would not show. He was James VI of Scotland, but he was James. Was he James V of Scotland? I think James VI. But anyway, either way, but he was certainly James I of England, and that's him with his little beard. Actually, it's in really quite nice condition. So we should have a Jacobus somewhere on that side, and then all the other stuff on that side. But look at that, that's just a fabulous coin. Don't find many James I, and that's just so spoiling. So along with that other little cut half, that's the second silver, and that is a bloody stonking silver. That's made my day. That and that Constantine coin. Let's bring that out as well. Have a quick look at them together. Lucky me, look at those. Both facing right. Oh God, it's just as I said, it's turning out to be one of those days. I cannot complain, it's wonderful. Well, this is quite exciting. However, I don't think anyone gets quite as excited about these as I do. I put my coat and my hat on because it's getting a little bit on the chilly side. It's an English jetton. Now, I've found a few here. I've never ever found one outside this permission, as it were. It seems to be very, very good for them, and they are not common finds. And when I think about it, I've not found two of the same English jetton. I've found 5 or 6 English jettons. Sorry, I forgot to turn my mic on. You should be able to hear me now. I've found 5 or 6 English jettons, and no two are the same. They date to, I think, the 13th and 14th centuries, and they do tend to try and copy in size and look the long cross coins of the time. Quite often you get a monarch on one side, you can even get a short crossy type thing on one side. There's never any legend, I don't think. Here we have pellets all around the outside on one side, pellets all around the outside of the other. And we've got a very similar reverse and obverse, which I've not found before. Now, I think this is referred to as a cross Moline, which is that sort of cross that comes out and then does that. And the other way you can tell it's an English jetton is because it's got a little hole in it. The hole doesn't always go right the way through, but it's just a little indentation often. Someone once said that was because so that people didn't confuse them with coinage. But that is as good as one as I've ever found, and I'm completely thrilled. Well, look, let's go back to headquarters with it, have a closer look, because these are rare. These are not common finds. And we can have a look at those other coins I found at the same time. Whoa, my God, I feel lucky today, I really do. Right, let's go. Hi there, and welcome to headquarters to have a look at all these bits and pieces, especially this English jetton. Now, as I said in the field, I don't think anyone gets quite as excited about English jettons as I do. But they are not common finds, and I just think they're extremely special, and I'm very lucky to have found several now. But firstly, these other coins. Now, thank you very much for everyone who's been bidding on eBay for these bits and pieces. It's really helpful, and often you're more than generous. And as I always do in this case, is I always put another coin or two in with a bundle if I feel that someone's been a little bit too generous. But we didn't put anything up from last week's video, and there's only 2 things which I think are good enough to go up, but I will put them up in this one. And in the description on eBay, it will say which video these things come from. And the first one is this rather lovely Edward penny. I don't know exactly which one it is or which class it is, but I'll find out, and it will go in the description. It's quite clipped, but it's really beautiful. The detail's lovely. And there's a little Roman coin from that session as well, which I'll put in because that's rather pretty, even though, again, it's quite worn, but really rather charming as well. So those 2 from the last video will go up. And I thought long and hard about these ones because I do have one of both these coins already, and I very rarely put up the bigger coins, but I am going to, in this case, it's Christmas is coming, I've got one of these already, and I just think it'd be really nice every now and then to put something a bit special up. So firstly, this James I, James VI of Scotland Sixpence, which is just wonderful. I've only got one of these. It's a little bit bent, but I'm going to leave it like that. Whoever buys it can straighten it out if they want. It's 1606. And you can clearly see him on one side and the shield on the other. I don't know much more about it than that, but that's a nice big bit of silver, so that will go up. And this Constantine the Great. Now, I've cleaned it a little bit, but not too much. So if you buy it and you want to clean it a little bit more, then please do. Or if you buy it and you want me to clean it a bit more, then just tell me and I will. But it's a really lovely one. I think it's the Trier mint, and it's got Sol Invictus on the other side, not the Genio of the Roman people.
And that's just a nice big chunky coin. So those two big coins I will put up this time, and I hope they go well. And just also that little short cross cut half, which again is really rather special. It's big, it's not at all clipped. It's just, it's got a little bit of a crack in it, but it's really, really nice. And I think it's probably John or Henry the second. I'm not sure exactly which one, but again, I'll put it on the Detecting Hub later and get an ID on it, and that will go in the description on eBay. And then a couple little Romans, which I'll put in, with the big Roman. And so all those will go up later, and I will put the links in the description. I keep forgetting to say that. And so now quickly onto this jetton. Well, I mean, I'm always amazed by the condition these come out. And the soil is amazing in those fields, as I've said a million times. And this isn't corroded at all. It's smooth as you like. So the only wear is from touch. And I've bored you about these things millions of times before, because as I said, they're one of my favourite things to find. And they're not common. Now this one has the cross moline, I think it's called, or a cross recherche or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the adjective is, but it's the cross that goes back. The moline tends to go just back in a little bit of a straight line like that, and the other one goes back a bit more like ram's horns, which is this one. So that's the one we found on the day, and here are several more which I've found before. And one thing two of these ones have in common is they've got the cross moline on one side. One of them has a sort of king or a monarch with big earrings, and this one actually, funnily enough, it has another cross moline on it, even though they are, in this case, much more similar, almost the same one on both sides. Here's one with, I think, with the bishop's mitre on one side and a cross on the other with crescent moons and things going on there. And then my favourite of the lot is this, which I think is a rose or a flower on one side, and then you've got a long cross with sort of bears or wild boars or koalas, they look like, in the segments of the other, which is just completely charming. These are the first jettons that were produced. They were sort of reckoning counters for basically sort of adding and doing sort of simple mathematical stuff. But these ones are definitely 13th and 14th century, these very early English ones. After that, they started using the French ones, which were quite good quality still, but slightly bigger. With this one's got a crown on one side and lots of sort of fleur-de-lis and bits and pieces on the other. Come the 15th and the 16th century, they start using the German ones, much thinner metal, almost machine-made. They look quite often, but they are sort of hammered. And this is a very typical orb and rose type. But the English ones came first, and they're just one of my favourite things to find. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to all that, and let's go back to the fields.
You're a big boy, aren't you? Still a little wary of these things because they're so big. He's not really bothered. This one's being a little bit more curious, and believe it or not, he's a young'un. Shall I see if he wants to come near me? Not really. Listen to that handsome fellow. Hiya. Right, if you suddenly don't see me anymore, you know what's happened. I don't know if you saw some of the earlier videos when I was in these fields. These horses used to terrify me because I'm simply not used to them. I grew up on a farm, but not with things like that. But we've rather got used to each other, and I'm a lot more relaxed. I think I'm lucky in the fact that they're pretty good horses at the best of times. I'm not having to deal with anything nasty. Now I think we'll end on this one. It could go either way. I'm semi-hopeful though. But I've dug a lot of holes today, and it's been hard work, and it's just been sod's law that the ones I've just thought, go on, let's just get rid of these, let's just dig it out and see what it is, have been the good ones and not recorded. That's a nice buzzer. It's got a bit, it definitely got a lot of iron to it, but I don't know if that's, I mean, there's just, there's a proper bit of iron there, but there's also a really good buzzy sound amongst it all. So it's probably it could easily be a cartridge or something, he says again. Okay, big boy. Oh, I don't know if it's there or not. Well, there's something there, isn't there? That's not iron, is it? Is it behind me? Well, that's something, I think. No, it's just a bit of aluminium rubbish. I don't think that's anything. That's not important. That's a bit of a shame. But we will. Let's find one more. Not ending on that. Well, look, it's another tiny Roman. And again, sounded like a bit of very thin foil. I think that's what it is. I think it must be Roman. Can't think what else. It's not Celtic. I don't think. It might clean up a bit. It might be Celtic. Little Celtic bronze unit. Either way, it's tiny. But I think I can just about see a face on that side like that. But that might be, well, look, do you know what? I'm not sure. That looks a bit squiggly, doesn't it? Celtic squiggly. Is it silver even? Don't think so. We'll clean that up when we go back. Right, we're going to have a proper iffy one to end on. I just don't know which way this will go. God, it's been fun today. But my cold is slightly getting the better of me. And having dug so many holes. And so much rubbish today. If you can call rifle rounds and cartridges rubbish, it's not exactly trash, is it? It's just not what we're looking for. Anyway. Right, here we are. I hope you can just about hear that. It's okay there. It's just about okay there. It's okay there, but wherever you go, there's a bit of iron. But there might be the iron there. It might be part of that, or just off it. I think it's going to be iron. But just with this machine, if it's deep, it's just got enough going for it. And then we can all go home, hooray. Because I think I need to warm up. Oh, I don't know. Sounding a little bit better. It's still a bit drawn out, a bit wide, which isn't a good sign. If it was a smaller... I think it's big iron, I'm afraid. It's quite deep. It's certainly 8 or 9 inches. This should do it, I think. Ooh. Yeah, it's a long way down. We're now going, it's certainly a foot. And can I hear iron there, or is that stone? Well, it's out. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Well, look, it was good that we dug it, because it wasn't iron. And therefore it could have been a coin. Could have been a big Roman coin. Look, it's an old cartridge. But it's been like that today. But on another day, that could have been another big Constantine the Great. So I'm not too worried. I mean, I think it's good fun pitting your wits against this and coming out on top. So thank you very much again, and see you next time.